Hey everybody, Pretty Girl Politics, this is Autumn here, and today what I want to talk to you guys about, this really bothers the mess out of me, okay you guys? So, it seems like there is an attack on, once again, heterosexuality, heterosexual people, and yes, natural born women and their rights and choices, okay? Instagram. One of my family members, I don't know if y'all can see this very well. Okay, that's the best I can do. Okay, best I can do. They sent me this post. It's blurry, but I'm gonna read it to y'all. It's a repost. Demetriel Lucas reposted a post by Optimus Fine, and you can find them, by the way, at Sunny Day Jones. So that's Sunny with a Y and DAE Jones. Okay, they posted, "Black women, it's homophobic and biphobic to not date a man just because he's bisexual." Follow me for a second. What? Get the F out of here, okay? What the F? I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm not even about to sit here and pretend like I don't feel some kind of way about this. I absolutely do. Since when now women don't have the right to choose what they want to deal with and who they want to deal with, and if they want to deal with certain lifestyle choices, certain issues, and people in their orientation. And before y'all come at me with it's a lifestyle choice, and I know exactly who you are out there when you say it's a lifestyle choice. A lot of you are from the LGBT community. I don't care how you feel about my opinion and my views. My opinions and my views are my opinions and my views. If you disagree, you disagree. But don't waste your time arguing with me on my platform, because at this point, I'm done doing all that. If you guys feel some kind of way about it, then this channel is not for you. Move on to the next one, because I'm not here to agree with anybody or to validate anybody who feel insecure about who they are in their sexuality. You don't need my validation, y'all, okay? The only validation you need is from God. You know, God still loves you. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that other people can't have their opinions. Now, let me get on to the real topic here. Ladies, please ignore the ignorance out here. This is just ridiculous. And this was a repost, okay? So the girl, or the lady, I'm sorry, who reposted this, she said she had been seeing discussions about allegedly biphobic women all weekend. Apparently, if you're a hetero woman who does not want to date a bisexual man, then you are biphobic, and your choices is rooted in homophobia and phobia too. Biphobia too, apparently. What is what she's saying? And I'm with her on that. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? And she claimed, you know, she said she reached out to her educator friends or whatever, and their response was, one said it could be a phobia or a preference. Depends on the reasoning for the refusal. Like, if you think bisexual people are less than or their behavior is gross, it's phobic. If you're more like everyone live how they feel fit, I'm just not down to do it with you, then it's a preference. Okay? It's a preference. It's a preference. It's not phobic for any reason. If you decide you don't want to date a bisexual person or someone who is homosexual in any form, it is a preference. The same way you have women out here who will not date a guy who doesn't have a job. They won't date a guy who have children. They won't date a guy who has who doesn't have a car. They won't date a guy who, you know, doesn't make good money. They won't date a guy who may be of a particular race. That's not being racist. That's just preference. Okay? So, ladies, don't let anybody give you a guilt trip about who it is that you choose to date by preference and why. Okay, and any of you out there, if you're in the LGBT community and you're putting this kind of pressure on heterosexual women, shame on you. Shame on you. Go have several seats, because it's not your job to be policing people and telling them who they can date and why they are choosing to date certain people and not date other certain people. You know, that's your hang up. That's your insecurity. Sit down. You know what I'm saying? This is my issue with the LGBT community. You guys want acceptance on every level, but you do not accept other people who are not LGBTQ and their freedom of expression, their rights, their thoughts, their beliefs, their feelings about certain things. You guys want so much tolerance, but you lack so much tolerance. You guys have so many insecurities that you love to dump on the heterosexual community. And y'all don't have the right to do that. If you guys are out there feeling insecure about yourselves, you need to go get therapy, counseling, sit in a support group with one another, and go have some prayer and some meditation with God. Because at the end of the day, too many of y'all out here looking for excuses to jab at somebody in the heterosexual community over little petty stuff. Nobody has to date you if you're bisexual. Nobody has to do it because they may feel uncomfortable with that. Here's a couple reasons why they may feel uncomfortable with that. You got to learn how to understand why somebody in the heterosexual community may not want to date somebody bisexual. First off, we live in a world today where everybody seems to want to be a hoe. Okay, everybody want to cheat and go behind each other's back and stuff like that. That's a sad fact. Unfortunately, not everybody's a hoe, but too many people are. So you're dealing with the possibility, if you date someone bisexual, that they may dip to the other side because they may have the urge to jump to the other side. You know what I'm saying? So not only you're competing possibly with your own same gender. So if you're a woman, not only you concerned, okay, that you're going to be competing with all these women who you don't even know that this person you're dating or involved with is looking at, or maybe even be going behind your back to deal with. But then you got to worry about now you competing with a man. Now, to you fellas, you may not care that your girl is bi and she might be fooling around with another woman behind your back. You know, some of y'all may be hoping to find out so y'all can say, hey, let's do a threesome or something. But there, I know some of y'all out there, y'all not going for that either. And you shouldn't have to. You know, there's a video, I saw this the other day. I cannot remember who posted this, but it literally was a homosexual couple, two guys, and one of them was bisexual. He ended up bringing a girl in, you know, a lady into the situation, and told his spouse that he was not willing to give up either one of them because he was in love with both of them. So this poor guy, his partner, ended up having to act like he was okay with it and go along with it, and even claim he was bisexual, when if you saw the video, you could tell clear as day this man was not into no women. He just wasn't. He just felt forced into this situation of sharing his husband because his husband was bisexual and had a taste for both women and men, and he wasn't willing to give up dealing with women. You know what I'm saying? So they had a three-way relationship. I felt bad for this guy, his husband, because I'm like, dang, that's not fair. So you see what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be funny, but there's a lot of situations where, you know, I've seen and observed bisexual people, they like to have their cake and eat it too. You know what I'm saying? They like to have their cake and eat it too. And if you ask me, I think they just freaky, period. You know what I'm saying? And they like to have their cake and eat it too. So a lot of times the situation ends up being where they do want to dip and dabble on both sides, and the partner is either aware of it or they're unaware of it. And either way it goes is usually pretty unfair. You know what I'm saying? Unless that person who they're dating or involved with is okay with it. Personally, I you know, it's not something I would prefer to deal with. I actually was with somebody who it turned out, I didn't know they were bi, but it turned out later on, I discovered on they were bi, long after we'd been together for some time. And I really wasn't, I just wasn't thrilled with the fact that they were going behind my back. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm like, okay, they're going behind my back with who? Not just women, maybe? Probably also men. You know what I'm saying? They should have told me from the start and gave me the choice to decide for myself before we got involved if I even wanted to deal with that. Okay, it's bad enough, you know, you could be in a heterosexual relationship, or you can be, if you're homosexual, you could be in a homosexual relationship. You could just be in any kind of relationship, and there's the issues of somebody may want to cheat. There's issues of STDs out here. When you start adding that extra dabble to it, where somebody's running to both men and women, it gets to be even more risky. For a lot of reasons, okay? Because then you don't know who's doing what. And not to be stereotyping, but in Atlanta, okay, there is a large LGBT community. There is also a AIDS epidemic here, HIV/AIDS epidemic here, okay? Issue with, herpes and stuff like that here. And I can almost bet one of the reasons why, besides needle sharing, because there's also a drug issue here that they don't like to talk about, is the fact that a lot of people are dibbling and dabbling from that community. And they're bouncing between the heterosexual community and the homosexual community. And then don't add drugs to it, because like I said, unfortunately, it's bad enough that, heterosexual men and women would be out here not using condoms and protection. But then you jump into the LGBT community, they definitely may not be using protection. Why? Because they don't figure they can get anybody pregnant. So what are they going to use, protection for? You know what I'm saying? So it gets even worse in that aspect. So then when you get everybody dibbling, dabbling, and you don't know who's been dealing with who, that just adds more to the chaos of STDs. It adds more to the chaos of people getting cheated on and all kinds of drama to come out of it. Like, it just amplifies things that much more. Okay? And I don't care how you guys feel about it. That's my observation, my opinion. Don't waste your time arguing with me about it. I mean, if you want to bring up some intelligent points or whatever, give some feedback, cool. But don't be throwing no insults, because I will delete those comments, you guys. But it's just too much, man. It's too much. And women have the right to know who they're dealing with. Now, to all you bisexual women, men out there, you don't have to stay on the DL out of fear that women are not going to date you if they know you're bisexual. You got some women out there, they don't care. They just want you to be honest and upfront with them. But then you got some women, they will care. Why? Because they may have spiritual or religious beliefs that may also be a conflict of interest for them in dealing with someone who is bisexual, meaning they are also homosexual. Okay? And you need to respect that someone may have that type of preference for those reasons, religious and spiritual, to not want to date someone who's bisexual and involved with homosexual relationships or people. Okay, and like I said, going back to the fact that they may not want to compete with you for another man in any form. Okay, so this is just keeping it real, being honest. But this whole thing of attacking heterosexual women and saying now we're homophobic because we don't want to date someone who's bi, that's total BS. And I'm not for it. I'm not standing for it. It's not okay. And I'm standing up against it. So bring it on, you guys, because that's wrong. And this is the reason why people are going to push back against the LGBT community, because of this kind of nonsense. Y'all trying to label and give guilt trips to people who are heterosexual because they may not want to date you? Come on. That's just sick. You know what I'm saying? And this is the reason why people are going to say, you know what, I don't have the same tolerance anymore. because tolerance is all anybody has to have in actuality. And when I say tolerance, meaning respecting one another to the point where you're not using homophobic slurs or racial slurs, or you're not, trying to beat someone up because of their sexual orientation or preference or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Let's respect and love one another for our differences, but at the same time, if somebody is not for it, they're not for it. As long as they're not doing any actual harm to you, they're not calling you names and beating you up, stuff like that, let people be. It's their choice, it's their right if this is not something they want to deal with. And for anybody to show any disregard for that, it just says a whole lot about you either as a person, or it's saying a whole lot about the community. Now, I realize everybody in the LGBT community may not share that same sentiment, that a woman who has a preference on who she wants to date is considered biphobic or homophobic if she doesn't want to date a bisexual person or a bisexual man. But to see anybody say that and to hear somebody else say they've been seeing a lot of that, it's just, come on, it's misrepresenting your community. So if you don't agree with this, speak up. You know what I'm saying? But if you do agree with this, then speak up and give your real logical reasons why. And give logical reasons. Don't give me no emotional reasons because you feeling insecure about who you are as an LGBT community person. Because that's not how you win an argument. That's not how you even get people to respect you in your community. Come with intelligence, come with logic, not with all these feelings and emotions like, oh my God. No, don't bring that. Don't bring that. Because at the end of the day, you guys have to learn how to respect heterosexual people if you want them to respect you as an LGBT community person. You know what I'm saying? And in today's time, I feel like a lot of you guys are just really pushing it too far. I remember the 80s and the 90s where there was a lot of violence against people in the LGBT community and a lot of discrimination. And I didn't agree with any of it. I had a lot of empathy for you guys. But, there's been a lot of progress. There's been a lot of progress. This is 2020 now. Moving forward, there's been a lot of progress. You guys have the right to get married. You guys have, and nobody got the vote on that. It just got passed. You know what I'm saying? You guys have the right to get married. You guys have a lot of rights. But now I feel like you guys are pushing your luck now at this point. You're just pushing and I say pushing, you're pushing in people's faces now and telling them, nah, you have to date me, or you biphobic now and homophobic. What? That's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That's total BS. Y'all better, and if y'all don't agree with that and you from that, the LGBT community, you better speak up and you know what I'm saying? Let us know that this ain't all of you out here on that nonsense, because that's pure nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to have your cake and eat it too or something. I don't know. Nobody out here can have their cake and eat it too. There has to be compromise on all levels, and it has to be respect for one another among communities in order for there to be harmony and peace and everybody having tolerance and respect for one another. And this ain't how you get it. Telling people, oh, you homophobe, you gay, and you not this, you not that, because they don't want to date you, is BS. But for real though, you guys, if you are bisexual, or homosexual, just be real. Don't hide in the closet because they say you afraid we gonna say no to you. Speak your truth. Be true to you. You don't need to be accepted by everybody to be comfortable with who you are. Be okay with being in the presence of those who do accept you and those who do have, appreciation for you as a person, regardless of your orientation, and leave all that insecurity mess at the door. Leave it there, because that has nothing to do with the fact that right is right, wrong is wrong. And too many times I'm seeing y'all just come from the left. There's, just come out of nowhere saying stuff that don't even make sense. Because you guys feel some kind of way, but you guys are leaving logic at the door. You know, this is going beyond logic. This is going into a place of stupidity now. You know, a place of just pure ignorance, and now, like I said, attack on heterosexual relationships, attack on heterosexual women, attack on heterosexuality, period, because you guys just, I don't know, y'all want to dominate everything. I don't know what it is, but it just seems ridiculous and absurd, and I'm not for it. I'm speaking up. Let me know how you feel about this, you guys. Peace.